Hi Leos, welcome to your January 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us, which is normally 10 cards, but you got some extra cards that came up in quite a few of the positions, and then we have a Oracle card that we read at the end to help tie everything together. Plus, there are two new things that I'm starting this month that we'll get to after that Oracle card, so there's definitely a lot to get to in the spread. Let's get started with the main position, which had two cards, and that's the Strength card and the Three of Wands. So both of these cards are fire energies. This is actually the major arcana card for your sign. And then this actually to me is an Aries card, the middle 10 degrees of Aries. And I almost view it as a blend of Mars energy, which is that Aries energy, and Sun energy, which is your energy as Leo. So this is referred to as the waiting for your ships to come in energy. So it's almost like you put in that work, right, which is the Mars thing, and now you're waiting for the results to come in, which is more of that Sun thing, waiting for your day in the sun, quote unquote, waiting for the spotlight to be shined on you. And with the Strength card here, it looks like, if I just look at just the artwork here, this could be saying that you're struggling to wait, you're trying to balance between going on the aggressive to go after what you want, right? If we look at that lion energy there and the woman's trying to hold it back, or just actually waiting for things to come your way. So that's mainly what I'm seeing there. This could just be saying that you're feeling more like you're back in your element too, though, and that would make sense. I mean, even though the sun's going to be in Capricorn for a good part of the month, you're going to have some more energy in Sagittarius. When Venus gets back in there, and you're going to have Mercury in there for a little bit as well. Obviously Jupiter's there, and then, like I said, we'll have Mars going into Aries immediately when the month of January starts. So that's a lot of energy in the fire signs. So, in that regard, you could be feeling back in your element, and then, like I said, it could just be trying to decide of, okay, do I want to go out and get what I want, or do I want it to come to me? And now in a challenge or obstacle position, you had three cards come up there. And we have the King of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, and the King of Swords. So quite a few there. This actually, to me, is the Court card for Taurus. And then we have the Four of Wands, which is actually another Aries energy for me. And then we have the King of Swords, which is an Aquarius energy for me. So this could just be saying that you're trying to decide between two options. Again, with that energy going on in your fifth house that we just mentioned, maybe that's brought new love options your way. And you might be trying to decide between a Taurus and an Aquarius, right? That's one way as far as what's going to get you the stability that you're seeking, with this card in the middle of those two. For others of you, it could just be saying that you're trying to balance those two areas of life as well, because these are two other fixed signs, along with yours being one of the fixed signs. So this could just be saying trying to find that balance between career and social status, which Taurus represents that for you as your 10th house, and your actual personal relationships, which is represented by Aquarius being your 7th house. So that could be what it's saying too. How do you stabilize? How do you get that maximum stability between those two areas of life? And maybe that's what you're struggling with right now, trying to figure out how best to move forward with that. But yeah, could be either way. Like I said, this could represent two people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a Taurus, for example. I mean, the symbolism here clearly points to Taurus with the bull symbols there. And, this could be any air sign as well. It doesn't have to be an Aquarius, but that's some of the vibes that I'm getting from those cards. And then in the foundation position, to continue that, there definitely seems to be some decision you're trying to make. We have the Two of Pentacles. So that's another card that points to juggling between two options. And this actually represents Capricorn energy as well, the first 10 degrees of Capricorn. So this could just be saying, right as we're getting into the month of January, during those first 10 degrees of the sun being in Capricorn, you're trying to decide, all right, which way do I go? And maybe with the strength card there, maybe that's saying when the month does turn to January, you're actually getting more of a vibe and a feel for, okay, how do I want to, where do I want to put my energy? And that could be what's happening there. In the past position, yet another card with some duality represented here. We see the female and the male. We have the Devil card, and this is another Capricorn energy. This is actually the Major Arcana card for Capricorn. So, it could just be referring to that area of life for some of you, actually, which is your 6th house. That could be work, your day-to-day habits, responsibilities, health. So maybe you're trying to get rid of some addictions, for example, since that would be your 6th house, and the devil can represent an addictive, what's the word I'm looking for? Obsessive quality. So maybe some of you are trying to, you know how it goes. People set the New Year's resolutions. So maybe you're trying to get rid of some addiction that you've had in the past. Could be anything. Smoking cigarettes, right? If you look at the symbolism there with the fire. Just anything. Eating unhealthy. For some of you, this could also represent a karmic relationship coming to an end as well. That in the past you had a karmic relationship. And the way I explain it, if you look, if you know the Lover's card symbolism, it looks like the same two people, right? But it's totally different. They're not chained together. There's, the environment is sunny and everything. So that's kind of how I view these connections. The karmic relationship, sometimes they seem hard to break apart from, which could be represented by those chains there. And usually it's because there's a lesson that you and or the other person need to learn before that karmic relationship can break for good. So maybe that's what you were going through in the past. And I'll get to a little bit more of why I think that could be the case as well when we get a little bit further into the spread. In the present position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is actually a court card for Virgo for me. So some of you could be dealing with the Virgo, certainly, but this could also just be pointing to your focus on finances, because like I was saying there with the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords, maybe trying to find that balance of, okay, well, what do I want to put more energy into, right? Or how do I integrate the two in the best way possible? So this could just be pointing to, if this is your energy, both of those things, the King of Pentacles and King of Swords, this could just be saying that you're scaling back on the focus on finances a bit, right? To go from the King to a Knight, which is saying, okay, maybe you're trying to put a little less work, a little less effort into your career life, and by by elimination, putting more focus actually towards your love life. That could be what's going on there. And like I said, could be a Virgo for some of you as well, or any earth sign. This usually is an offer, but it's usually a guarded offer if it's not an actual person, that's related to the sign of Virgo. Could just be someone that makes you an offer that's stable, but if we think about the armor there, they seem to be guarded. And then on top of that, if you look at this horse, of all the knights, this definitely looks like the slowest moving horse. If we look at the environment, it doesn't even look like they're moving at all, right? So could just be an offer that's coming to you very slowly. And then that could be what that 3 of Wands energy is about too. You feel like this offer is taking forever. You're like, okay, where is it? So you're getting a little bit anxious, and maybe that's what the Strength card is showing there, with you trying to hold back the line, right? To hold yourself back from making a leap towards it and just waiting for it to come to you. In the near future position, we have the Justice card. And for, this is a major arcana card for Libra. But the main vibe that I got here, again with the duality, right? Because we see the scales there. And there's this duality all over the place. The woman and then the lion, right? Like we said, you have the King of Pentacles and then the King of Swords. We have the 2 Pentacles there. We have the man and the woman there. A lot of duality. And to me, what I'm seeing here with this is actually going back to, if this was a karmic relationship that I mentioned, or even, like I said, if it's an addiction or a bad habit you're trying to break. To me, the Justice card, the way I see these two energies working together in the spread, past to the near future, if we look at that sword, I just picture that as cutting those chains, right? And then the scales being balanced, which is to say The Justice card is communicating in the spread that, okay, you know, whatever karma you had to clear up, be it with another person in a relationship or just an addiction that you're trying to get rid of, a bad habit you were trying to get rid of, the Justice card is saying, okay, your karma's clear there and cutting it loose. And why that could really be the case as well is you guys have been having eclipses in your sign and your opposite sign for the past 18 months, basically. And this month is the final one in your sign for 9 years. Right around when the sun goes into Aquarius, which is the 20th, 21st, depending on where you are, that's when that actual eclipse is going to take place. 0 degrees Leo, and that could be the final clearing of that karma for you. Like, okay, here you go, you're cut loose from this. That's how I'm seeing that play out for most of you. You know, and then that's to say that, okay, you've integrated those lessons that the North and South Node were asking you to learn over those 18 months, and now you can move on to the next thing. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the 5 of Cups, the 7 of Pentacles, and the Moon card. So the way that I'm seeing this is, you know, you're disappointed over an ending. So this again points to me thinking about that karmic relationship, right? And, you know, you're just distraught over it, not necessarily ready to move on, and maybe even thinking about, do you want to put more work into it, right? Do you want to reconnect with this connection and continue to build, right? Because you had the 6 Pentacles there, the 7th. Do I want to go back and continue to build it? Or maybe you're just reflecting on how much time you did put into it, and you're thinking to yourself, great, well, now the next connection I have, I'm going to be starting from scratch, you know? I had built up so much with this person, but now it's gone, right? So that could be the energies there. And the moon could have you feeling a little bit confused as to which way to go, right? Again, we've mentioned all the duality all over the spread so far. That could just be saying that you're not ready to move. And again, let's remember, though, the moon popping out here of all months this month in your position, when there will be a full moon eclipse in your sign, to me points to, again, that maybe that's where you're going to get all of this energy cleared up. So if you're feeling like you're in that blocked headspace, you know, we have the 4 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which could represent healing from something. So, you know, all these energies show me that there's some connection that broke apart in the recent past for you, most likely, and you're just trying to decide, you know, just having a little bit of difficulty getting over it. And one thing that really points, you know, that sticks out to me here is you look at the 3 cups there that are spilled, right? And then there's 2 cups behind that are standing. So why that holds significance for me, I'll mention when we get to these cards right here, which is the position of the environment's influence on the situation. So the environment's influence on the situation, we have the 2 of Cups, and we have the 6 of Swords. Now here's what I'm seeing here. These 2 cards, right? So there's 2 cups standing up. We've mentioned that duality, right? The, you know, trying to decide between 2 options. So to me, this could be saying that you have been hung up on the toxic person, right? No offense to any cross-watchers, but, you know, maybe there was even a third-party situation, right? If we look at the 3 cups there, and with that being the karmic connection that, like we said, it's hard to break away from, so we get it. No judgment there if you've been having trouble breaking away from a relationship that you knew was toxic for you. You know, if you've been having difficulty with that, and then there was someone else, because as we mentioned, there's the potential, looks like there's a lot of potential for 2 different options to choose from. Maybe there was that true connection, right? A pure connection with those 2 cups standing up that was right there, but you weren't looking at it. You were so focused on the toxic connection, and now this month that connection might say, you know what, I'm out. Just a warning for you guys. So if that's something you don't want to happen, that's because that's really what I'm feeling here. Like, those cards are really speaking to me in that way right now. So if that's the situation you're in, you know there's someone else, you're still hung up on that toxic connection, keep that in mind. That, I mean, you know, you might not want to keep that person waiting for too long, because, you know, you could see where they're coming from in that regard, right? You have that good person, you're like not even paying them any mind, right? The cups are behind you, you're looking at these spilled cups, that was already a hot mess of some kind. And yes, this does look like the justice energy in the near future definitely supports that. But you got to look at that two ways also, right? Which is to say, justice is going to be fair to them too, which is to say, hey, you could either leave that behind for good finally and move forward with them, or they could just leave and move on to someone who is ready for what they have to offer. So something to keep in mind there. But that's just a cautionary thing. I mean, you know, the Two of Cups should be seen as a positive in the position of the environment, right? So if you are looking for new love, or if you've had those two connections and maybe someone has come across as more toxic to you than the other, you know, let's look at the fact that this is earth energy, this is earth energy, this is earth energy, and this is air energy. And like we said, we have the King of Swords there. So this could even be that in the beginning, right? You viewed the two people on an equal level, and maybe that was the struggle you had. Like, man, which of these people do I want to choose, right? They both seem like great options. And maybe in the past you lean more towards that earth connection, right? And then maybe as time went along, they started to diminish in your eyes, you know, because of maybe you found out some things about them, maybe their actions that they were taking, where you viewed them as a king, and now, okay, now you view them as a knight. So still not the worst person, right? But definitely not at the, you know, expectation you set upon them in the beginning. Oh, this is a king. Now they're like a knight. So, you know, their quality diminished in your eyes somewhat. And then if this is the air sign, right, even though this is a Libra versus Aquarius energy, like I said, it could be either. It could be any air sign. So that could just be saying that the air sign has actually grown in stature in your eyes. Like, okay, well, maybe I underestimated the air sign in the beginning. Now I'm actually seeing them as you know, higher quality than they appeared. And maybe I'm seeing, oh, now I see that that earth sign is actually more of a toxic connection. This one's actually very fair, you know, balanced. They'll give me that stability that I'm looking for, right? That could be what's going on there. So especially if that's how it speaks to you, where there's an earth sign that you feel is like kind of toxic, and there's an air sign that's been around, but you're like, oh, I don't know. If that's you that's speaking to, just keep in mind what I just said. All right. And for those of you if it didn't resonate, sorry, but that is really was getting that message there. All right. And then in the hopes or fears position, we have the 10 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords. So to me, this is saying, again, we were just talking about stability with that 4 of Wands. This is another card that points to stability. Yes, it can be related to finances, but it could just be in general, you know, just that comfort. And this could just be saying that you're hoping for it, but you're unsure of how to move forward toward it. And again, we've seen some of that energy as well, right? Like we said, the 3 of Wands, you know, should I move toward it? Should I let it come towards me? The 4 of Swords, the 5 of Cups. It's a lot of energy there of you being a bit unsure right now, even with the Strength card in the main position. But again, like I said, it's one thing to have a full moon in your sign. Everyone has that once a year. But for you, I mean, it's going to be that final eclipse in your sign as well. So that could be really when, you know, the light bulb goes off for you, right when the sun gets into Aquarius. And then with that as well, that, you know, that'd be towards the end of the month. But with the sun in Aquarius as well, that could also give you the energy to address your relationship area of life. So something to keep in mind there, which is to say, if you need a little time, things are unclear, that's fine, but try not to wait too long, because I do see that energy of potentially the good connection for you. If it really is coming down between two different connections, they might move on because they're like, okay, well, this person apparently isn't feeling it, I'm out of here. All right, and then in the outcome position, for those of you who are a little worried, right, this looks like a pretty good card to get in the outcome position. A lot of people refer to this as the wish card. I don't necessarily view it that way as much. More of being content, right, with what you do have already. And you know what they say, attitude of gratitude tends to bring more abundance your way, right? So if you're already happy with what you do have, being in that energetic vibration tends to bring more good things your way. So maybe it's just saying to be grateful, content, and then This represents building something stable, and this is actually a Capricorn card for me, the middle 10 degrees of Capricorn. And there's going to be a new moon in that sign right around the first week of January, and that's actually going to be right around the sign of Saturn too, or yeah, right around Saturn, I should say, around the same degrees that Saturn will be in Capricorn. And with that, that could also lend some stability to what you're building as well. And then the world, representing a completion. So that could be a few things. Maybe that's saying that you, again, going back to potentially completing a karmic cycle with a relationship or an addiction that you might have been trying to get rid of. You know, this could just be saying, and especially the Nine of Cups in that regard too. For some of you, maybe if you've had a drinking problem, that's one way that this could play out, this card. Usually it would be in the reverse for that. But if we look at it from the upright position, that could just be saying that now you have a firm grasp on it, right? You're turning your back to those cups. Like, okay, that's behind me now. I'm not even worried about that. You know, I've kicked that addiction. Now I'm moving towards building something stable, improving the quality of my life. Karmic cycle completed, right? But there's definitely a lot of Saturn type energy here, and this is the North Node for me as well. And like I said, you guys have had the North Node in your sign for the past 18 months. Now it's moved on to Cancer, but there's that one last eclipse. Maybe that's what this is pointing to as well, the completion of that karmic cycle that you've been on for those 18 months with that final full moon eclipse happening in your sign. That's a way that that could be pointing to as well. But yeah, that's about it for that spread. I know there were a lot of messages there, and especially there's definitely a pretty strong relationship vibe popping out to me there, and you know, as far as two options. But so hopefully that resonated for at least some of you, because usually I don't get a message that strong unless it really is resonating for at least a few people out there. All right, the Oracle card is exchanging gifts. There's the artwork for it, and then the number is 27. Let's see what the book has to say for that card. All right, it says the law of giving and receiving, currency, trade-offs, weighing cost, and determining value. The Oracle's message: you're entering into a productive and enriching time when all manner of opportunities are being offered to you. You have everything you need to seize them, yet in order to honor them, you must put in the time, exchange your experience and skills, and commit heart and soul to what you're choosing to pursue. You can do it. You have what it takes to be successful if you align with the law of giving and receiving. You must engage in a dance of give and take, push and pull, doing and being. If you let fear guide your choices, you could deplete yourself or create an imbalance. This is not a time of just do, do, do. Use your currency wisely and be mindful of the value others bring to your life. So use your currency wisely and be mindful of the values others bring to your life. Maybe that's what that Three of Wands energy is pointing to with the Strength card, right? Not going after everything that's in front of your face, right? Knowing, okay, what's worth me investing my time and energy into, right? That could be what that's referring to with that part of the spread as well. Something to keep in mind there. And again, maybe, you know, knowing, okay, yes, I have these things in my life that I could pursue that are a bit more toxic for me, or I could do something that's actually going to bring balance to my life and improve my life, right? So knowing which way, maybe that's what it is, that lion in the Strength card and the woman holding it back, right? Like, okay, let's not go after every single thing in front of us. Let's be more measured and think through what we pursue. All right, relationship message says, love is an exchange of life force energy between two beings. It grows exponentially when it's reciprocated. You must give and receive in order for love to flourish and abundance to flow between you. Spirit wants you to start accepting all the blessings waiting for you, as well as offer the same gift in return. Open your heart and allow it to be filled. Let love in and let it flow out of you too. Love is truly yours today. So let love in and let love flow out of you too. Let love in, right? Two of Cups. Let love flow out of you too, right? Instead of looking at those spilled cups from a potential toxic relationship, try to actually move forward, right? So this is an energy of being blocked and not really putting in effort there. And then the moon, right? Not knowing necessarily, all right, do I want to move forward with this, yes or no? And then the prosperity message says, all your hard work and efforts, your commitment to learning, creating, and spending your time wisely pay off in ways you may not have been anticipating. The gifts of yourself, your time, your ideas, and the energy of your intentions are being reciprocated by the universe, which is sending you signs and signals, aligning synchronistic meetings and opportunities to bring you success, and more. Everything is an exchange. Keep doing what you're doing. Goodwill comes back tenfold. So the keep doing what you're doing, goodwill comes back tenfold thing to me sounded interesting, because I think about the justice card in the near future, right? Meaning that if you do the right thing, and maybe if this is you turning your back to those toxic things and moving forward, maybe that's saying that, okay, the universe will reward you in that regard, especially, like I said, with that final eclipse in your sign. That could be the final lesson, final reward. So something to keep in mind there. And then, like I said, there are a couple of new things that I'll be starting this month. And the first is I have a new Oracle deck as well. And I pulled a card for you guys from there, and that was Be Spirit that came up for you. It says, sweet results await. There's the artwork, and the number for that card is 7, if that holds any significance for you. And we'll see what that message has to say. All right, it says the Bee Spirit's message is that sweet rewards are on their way if you are willing to get your ego out of the way and immerse yourself in the connected energy of all things. Bee Spirit knows not to let a sense of being a separate self get in the way of a good thing. Spirit is always producing honey. Miracles and magic are everywhere. When you connect with the great hive, you are vibrating and buzzing in exquisite harmony with all. Bee Spirit asks that your focus be on connectivity. Your body, heart, soul, and psyche experience total interconnectedness and a true integration when you self-forget, when you remember that you are part of a greater unified consciousness. Moving from separation into connection, from self-centered limitation to spirit-centered infinite possibility and potential, you become busy as a bee, enjoying the gifts of Bee Spirit. Fully in alignment with your highest expression of yourself, your heart opens and creativity rushes through you seemingly without effort as you experience nothing feels like work. Industriousness is driven by enthusiasm and inner motivation, and time seems to fly by quickly as the hive supports you in the making of honey. Do not feel the presence of your helpers. Do you feel the presence of your helpers in the hidden realms adding their energy to your creations? Magical results are taking form and will be sweeter than you expect. Bee Spirit wants you to remember that your part in the divine partnership with the conscious universe is being rewarded, even if you can't see that yet, and ask that you share your good fortune as there is plenty of honey for all. Be a part of the larger whole, the force that brings forth all that is sweet and delightful. So, for some of you, that could be what that's pointing to. The Devil card can also be a card that points to ego. And then the Strength card, usually, especially if the Strength card would have been in reverse, I would have said, yeah, that's a thing of ego, but it came up in the upright. So maybe that's what that's saying too. For somebody that you have to try to step away from ego and actually realize that, okay, it takes effort on your part as well. But, I didn't really get that huge vibe from the main spread, so that might resonate with some of you, but for the majority of you, I didn't really get the impression that you were necessarily being egotistical in any way. And then, we also have to look at the way we view the word ego too, right? And I actually say this to people when I talk to them about twin flame connections, if you will. in a way, that's ego too, when, you know, all the signs are beating you over the head that this person is not the right person for you. Like, you know, if you think of a list of all the great things that the love of your life would be, right? And then you compare it to what some people view as their twin flame. Usually it's the exact opposite, right? They treat them awful. Oh, they blocked me. They did this. They did that. So it's ego to be like, okay, no, I know this is the person for me. And the universe is like beating you over there with the signs. Like, really? You sure? Is this what you would want the person, the love of your life, to do to you? Is this how you'd want them to treat you? It's like beating you over there with those signs. You're like, nope, this is the person for me. I'm good. That could be ego too. So that's something to keep in mind there. Even if it comes from the right place of you wanting to be loved, right, and seeking that connection. But if the universe is like, really? Okay, this is what you're going to settle for? Cool. So, you know, that could be what ego is referring to in that regard. Sorry for that other tangent that I went off on there, but maybe that resonates for some of you anyway. And then the last thing I'm doing actually this month is I'm pulling mudra cards for all the signs. And, you know, for those of you who don't know what those are basically poses that you could usually hold with your hands while in a meditative position. Usually you do it for, you know, sometimes 5 minutes. Usually the minimum is 5 minutes, but you can hold them for half an hour or longer if you want to. But, you know, they have, depending on the specific pose, they'll help you with different areas of life. And so this is just something I'm trying this month. I'll see if you guys like it or not. And the mudra you guys got, here's the actual pose itself. And this one's called the Jnana mudra. And the number of the card itself is 22, in case that holds significance for you guys. And then I'll hold up what it says about the mudra and everything. Let me just get it to focus. Or not. Hold on. There we go. All right. So there you go. It has the technique, application, benefits. And what I'll do as well is I'll actually put this up in the description if you guys wanted to look it up on Google, or maybe even see if there's videos about it on YouTube if you're interested in this. But, you know, you can see what the benefits are. It says, evokes the feelings of lightness, calms the mind and brightens the spirit, opens the chest and facilitates diaphragmatic breathing, reverses the outward flow of prana and directs energy back towards the body, increases the benefit of any asana. And then there's also a note here, so let me try to get that to focus. If you want to screenshot that as well, or pause it and read what it says. Alright, so like I said, hopefully that resonates for you guys as well. We'll wrap up there. If you guys want a personal reading with me, you could actually go to the About section of my channel for more info on that. And you can follow me on Instagram as well, where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology. But if not, Happy New Year, guys, and I'll see you next month. Bye.